Aloha everyone, I'm Representative Kymberly Pine, and this is the first of a series of videos that we're going to be sending you to protect you from cybercrime. And today we have with us a very special guest, Chris Van Marter, who's the Senior Deputy Prosecuting Attorney for the city. And we're very happy that he's here today. He has prosecuted over 100 cases relating to cybercrime. And so, Chris, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now tell me, what are the kind of crimes that you see on the rise in relation to cybercrime in Hawaii?
Well, probably the biggest crime is internet fraud. Internet fraud could be everything from online auction fraud, advanced fee scams, these counterfeit check scams that we're seeing. And we've also seen just recently a big increase in the traveler email scams. We also see just general intrusion cases, typically involving former employees who have access to their employer's computer network, and they're intruding into the network and causing damage, either deleting files, corrupting files, or stealing data. So those cases have been on the rise as well.
When you say stealing data, they're taking their data lists that they used to have access to and doing something bad with it, or?
In one of the recent cases that we've had, that's exactly what the former employee did. He stole basically a customer list of the entire database that company had generated over many years and stole that data. That case is actually still under investigation. We haven't actually indicted it, but that case represents what we see in other cases involving former, usually disgruntled employees who are penetrating systems for malicious reasons.
Now, what would be the crime for doing something like that?
The crime would be called unauthorized computer access, and the degree would depend on what they do once they access the system. If they access information that's protected by statute, for example, we've had cases involving employees who work for a medical facility. They're accessing federally protected private medical records. In those cases, it becomes a Class B felony, so first degree unauthorized computer access, punishable by up to 10 years. If they're accessing the system to facilitate another underlying crime, that could again be a Class B felony, first degree unauthorized computer access. If they're going into the system and they're just looking around, they're not damaging or corrupting data or stealing data, then it's a lower degree, it would be a third degree misdemeanor offense.
Tell me about the traveling email. I've gotten 2 so far, and I almost saved a friend of mine. If it wasn't for the informational briefing that we had, I probably would have sent money because it was so convincing. How many people have you heard fall into that scam?
Well, we actually monitor the number of internet crime complaints that are filed in Hawaii every day. On average, there's about 100 to 150 complaints filed per month. These are just Hawaii victims. If you add to that category the number of Hawaii suspects, you have about 200 reports per month involving victims and suspects in Hawaii. The email traveler scam, we actually see about 3 or 4 of those every weekend.
Explain that a little bit for our viewers that haven't got that email yet.
Sure. Generally what happens is the bad guy will see an email address, for example, a Yahoo email. They'll go to Yahoo and they'll plug in the email address, and then they'll click forget password. And they'll basically try to retrieve the password associated with that email address, and they'll try to guess what the password is based on other information they find about the user on the internet. Unfortunately, a lot of people are posting a lot of personal information about themselves on social networking websites, and the bad guys will try to guess what the answer to the security question is for that particular email account. And if they guess correctly, they're into the email account, and then they will send an email to everyone in the address book telling everyone in the address book that they're usually in Europe and they're stranded, maybe they've been mugged or robbed or something bad has happened to them, and they need their friends and family to wire money, usually via Western Union, to get them out of this predicament that they're in. And we usually see at least 2 or 3 of those per week where Hawaii victims actually fall for that, and they wire money via Western Union, and that money generally is gone. Once it's wired out, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to track it down and collect it before it falls into the hands of the bad guy.
How about people who say you can have your email? I just got this the other day from a Rotarian where they demanded that she pay money to get access to her email again. They changed the password after they hacked into. Have you heard any of that going on in Hawaii?
We have seen those cases. They're not as frequent, but again, generally the bad guy will find a way into the email account, and then they'll in effect hold the account hostage or try to obtain some sort of an extortionate payment for that. But usually the victims in those cases can report that to the email provider. For example, if it's a web-based email account like Yahoo or Gmail, Hotmail, they can usually work with them to get the account password reset. We haven't seen too many that actually pay the extortion fee to get the account unlocked by the bad guy, because once the bad guy gets a little money, they're going to ask for more money, and the odds are they're not going to unlock it for you for some small amount of money.
So if someone's email gets hacked into, what's the first thing that they should do?
Well, the first thing they should do is, if the bad guy has taken over their account and changed the password, they need to contact the hosting company for that email account. So if it's Yahoo or Gmail or Roadrunner, you need to contact that provider and make a report with them and verify your identity with them, and then ask them to reset your password, and then you can reset it to hopefully a stronger password. Unfortunately, what we see a lot is people use the same password across multiple accounts, and the bad guys know that. And so when they get into your account, a lot of times they'll look to see what other accounts you have, and then they'll go to that account and try to get into that, and they just keep going and going until hopefully they want to get into your bank account or credit card account. So yeah, work with your service provider to get that password reset.